Hello, friends of Skele Vader. Monsters. This past week, I purchased 3 action figures that fit into the category of monsters. This first one here is incredibly special to me. He's one of my favorite monsters. It's Ash. This android used to scare the you-know-what out of me when I was a kid, and I saw him be beaten up and dismantled in that fight, and he was bleeding that white milk, and he was genuinely scary, almost to me as a kid scarier than the xenomorph himself. Big chap, right? So this is Ash. I was really excited to get him. He's a reaction figure. Super 7 and Funko were teamed up several years ago when they released these. So I was happy to get this one. Of course, I opened them up because that's what I do. Some of you are cringing, I bet. But yeah, that little tool there is pretty great. And his paint job is spectacular. And it doesn't really look like Ian Holm, but I'm happy to have him. And now, a brief commercial break.
Hello, this is Mark Begley, the host of Wake Up Heavy Recollections of Horror. Wake Up Heavy is a show where I talk about movies that blew my mind as a kid. Things like Phantasm.
These warning shots are bullshit.
Tourist Trap.
You're so pretty.
Dead and Buried.
Welcome to Potter's Bluff.
And Halloween 3.
A joke on the children.
Guests have included friend of the show and host of the Projection Booth podcast, Mike White, genre film journalists Anya Stanley, Jerry Smith, Sam Panico, and Simon Fitzjohn. Every once in a while, I even convince my own daughter Cleo to join me.
That's me.
Usually, though, it's just me, a mic, and my memories of some really wonderful horror films. So come check us out, wakeupheavy.com, soundcloud.com/wakeupheavy, or your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget,
anything can happen when you wake up heavy.
So yeah, folks, this is an amazing podcast. I highly recommend. Now, this is the model kit that my dad had of King Kong, and I think he made it when he was younger. And so I've always been a fan of King Kong. I watched the 1933 movie compulsively as a kid. And when I saw this in Target, I thought NECA's really gone overboard here in the best possible way. That paint job is loosely based on the 1933 poster. I believe it's the 1933 poster, but it is one of those posters that came out with the film. And it's extravagant, multicolored, sloppy looking, and yet at the same time, the sculpt is phenomenal. This face is the face that I grew up with, the stop-motion animation Kong. The articulation is a little stiff. I got him out, but I suppose that's sort of normal for NECA figures. The gremlins that I've gotten are pretty stiff too, which is good because they stand up. Of course, the ankles have gotten looser over the past few months. But I really like the way this guy looks. That paint job is amazing. His head can be exchanged with this other head. I'm not as big of a fan of this aggressive head, but I do love the hands that are opened and ready to grab you. But the whole thing, all in all, he just looks great. Yeah, so cool. And the paint is phenomenal. I just can't get over it. I'm a sucker for color, and they really went out on a limb and took a risk with this figure, and for me, it really hits the mark. Look at that paint job. It looks sloppy, but you can tell that it's not. And I actually compared it to other figures. There were 2 others in the store, and the paint job matched. It was nearly identical for each of the figures. He looks great here, perched behind my diorama of the cave. And I might just leave him there. He's fantastic. So I really can't wait to throw this guy into the ring with some of my Masters of the Universe figures. Now, this other guy, I occasionally, when I would have to go out shopping at Walmart, I would look on the shelves for him, and I never found him. So I ordered him from Big Bad Toy Store, and as usual, they came through. The card back is in great condition. The shipping's always fast, and the box is always intact when it gets to me. Always bubble wrap too. The image here is fantastic and iconic. Now I did have to wait a little while because it was a pre-order, but it did get to me, and I'm happy I have him. The articulation on this Mego creature from the Black Lagoon, of course, is the same as all Mego figures. A little bit awkward, but he looks great. He's got the vintage-looking bodysuit for the scales, and his joints are good and fairly tight. The ankles on these figures are always a little bit loose, but his head sculpt is just astounding. I'm super happy with that head sculpt. So here's my version of King Kong versus Godzilla. A little Ash standing down there. They look great. My monsters. So thank you folks for watching. Please click like and subscribe. Do please also look for Wake Up Heavy podcast on whatever streaming service you use for your podcasts, and subscribe to his channel. Those episodes are amazing. And find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. All you got to do is type in Skele Vader, and you'll find me. I also have an Etsy shop too, folks. You can get some artwork and some stickers. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.